I'm going to start recording it from the phone, see what happens. From the beauty of my own home, or as it were. Hooper levels. Let me engage my notes. I did make some notes. I tried to prepare. A little bit, unfortunately. There's a few things. I'm not very high tech, as you may have worked out. But I just wanted to try and clarify a few things and see if I can also offer a chance for people to come in to me straight away and ask questions about the Hooper levels as we go along or towards the end of the session. So, what is Hooper levels? Why do you keep hearing that word? Well, for me, it was a format that was used to identify and practice elements needed for hoopers. And it split it into several different things, okay? So that you could, really concentrate perhaps on a certain item rather than trying to mix it all up together. So how does that work? Right. Well, I call it a bit like perhaps your NVQ or portfolios you do. You have to do elements. And the Hooper levels goes into 10 different elements. And within those elements, there are 10 further exercises from the basic, the starting off point, to what we might call the extreme version, okay, where it is super level hoopers. And if you can do them, that's fine. So breaking that down, levels 1, 2 and 3, they're there to help you start off. They're there to give you and your dog a solid foundation, a solid core, basic basis to build from, okay? Those are your initial and essential building blocks. From levels 4, 5, 6 and 7, you may find that those are the things whereby if you're going through and getting into competition, those are the levels that would help you practice and perfect some of your requirements for competition and competition courses. The gaps are slightly bigger. The tests work you through different positions again, the distractions or decoys are beginning to come into play. From level 7 upwards, you're talking about being able to control your dog with gaps between the obstacles at 7 metres and more, and being able to direct your dog past distractions while not even being there. So it could be sort of like as far away as 10 or 15 metres before, and still being able to teach your dog to keep on a straight line, for example, or turn left or right. So what are these elements? What are these different sections that we come across? One of them is the start. So start exercise starts with one hoop, and as you might expect, it's about getting your dog to actually be able to wait and for you to be able to walk away and gradually increasing the distance or your standing position. So not just standing ahead of your dog, but out to the side and then round to the back. And your dog doesn't move. So it's very much in the early steps, a start position, wait there, nice and calm, nice and cool. It then moves on to actually adding hoops, for example, and then releasing your dog. Okay, that's the start. That's one. That's section one. Forward. Now, that's a different thing to starting your dog. When you start your dog, you might say go. You release it. You say forward means keep running. Okay. We might not say forward but it's a Dutch translation. The way you say it is different. Some people might say go to get their dog started and then say go, go, go to keep their dogs running. But we need to think, what is the dog hearing? We need to think there's got to be something slightly different to tell them, keep them, keep there, keep going forward. Following the line. Now, following the line means the dog has its natural path, and again, it may be a curve. You may start having a curve in the thing, but it's the obvious line. And when you say follow the line, the dog just keeps going, and that's your go on command. Again, it's slightly different to just saying go to start your dog. So following the line, you may need another command there. We have exercises which include tunnel training. There you go. Oh, what's the problem with a tunnel? The thing is, yeah, you can teach your dog to do a tunnel, but then you've got to teach your dog to do a tunnel where there's distractions, and you've got to teach your dog to go straight on or take a turn to the left or to the right, and you may be standing nowhere near it. You may not be standing here next to the tunnel. You've got to work your way so that you're standing on the other side of the arena. You say tunnel, the dog takes the tunnel instead of maybe veering off. Okay? And there are certain points of training the tunnel. Again, it's all about the forward motion and helping the dog learn not to look back for you if you're standing out of their vision. We have the gait and the barrels. We use them very similarly. I haven't got a gait out, but gait and barrel training, teaching them to do turn around them and back, or taking a turn, a corner turn, left or right. Different commands needed for each type of turn so that your dog clearly knows where it's going. Is it going straight on, or is it going all the way around and back towards you? Away. Now, in Dutch, they go weg. It's different to left and right because the dog is going on a slight bend. Okay, this is a pretty inflexible dog. But if you think that perhaps you have a ladder of hoops, and instead of going left, right, you're standing on the corner here. You've got perhaps the temptation of a hoop or a tunnel even, but you stand and say, away. They turn away from you and then keep going in the direction you've pointed them in. So away, for my training, means, doesn't matter whether it's to the left or to the right, but if they're coming towards me and I need to steer them off in a different direction, I go away. And it's not as acute as a right or left turn. Okay, so it's a slight turn and then off we go. No way. Left and right, however, would be more of a thing so that if I needed to go left, left. Okay, get that directional working. Right, right. Okay, so I want a right turn or a left turn. It's a little bit more than just a curve. That finishes off with something which is used at competitions in Europe, I've seen, in the advanced levels. That's what they call the slalom. We might call it other things, serpentine, whatever. And it's where the hoops are lined up side by side and the dog has a directional change. Could be a it could be a half turn, it could be 2 half turns. And depending on where you're standing will be depending on how you direct your dog. I've been posting a few videos on this. You can separate the word slalom. So sla means turn to the right and lem means turn to the left. That makes you have to really think hard when you're working your dog and walking your courses. You can, but again, it's about having a different vocalization to indicate to your dog it's a different kind of turn. You get more explanations on these as you take it up. People who take the instructor course and such like also get some handouts and obviously far more in depth on training them. We do have a Hooper Levels Facebook group whereby if you want to train or learn or work some of these exercises through, then for just £6 a month, I mean, who gets a lesson for £6 a month? You can subscribe and access the Hooper Levels session anytime you like, and that includes moi, on hand for advice. Rather, you can post videos, you can, just put a discussion point in, etc. So, where else can you get lessons and advice and help and instruction and diagrams and videos for £6 a month? Okay, so let's go on just a little bit more. What does Hooper Levels help the handler to pick up on? I've made a little list. You may find some things, let's say, you may have thought things already. You may add to this list. Firstly, to use your cues, your verbal cues, your body language in a consistent and clear manner. We're talking about really the person who is not running with their dog, not moving at this situation, okay? So we're talking about the training whereby you allow your dog the freedom to do it as it wants, at its own pace, with its own motivation, with your encouragement, and being able to stay in one area. I'm not talking about, so using your verbal and body language cues consistently. So you get into some habits, you get into the routines of saying the same thing for the same action you want your dog to undertake. To learn to watch your dog. Again, if you're training to lessen your work with your dog, you're running with your dog, that gives you more time to watch your dog. And I learnt and I must admit, I was reminded, never take your eye off your dog. Always watch your dog in hoopers, okay? Don't try to do any reverse turns or things like that. Or you know, try and pick up some tips where you can change sides, but with your eye on your dog. It builds a relationship. Hoopers can help create a lovely relationship with you and your dog. Because it's low impact, there's no stress, no strain, and it's pretty easy for the dog to pick up and have a go at. The obstacles aren't stressful, they're not difficult to overcome or try out. Some dogs might be more sensitive than others, but you can use hoopers to create a little bit more rapport between you and the dog. Have some fun. Holy lordy. I took up hoopers because you can see the fun the dog is having. He says, oh, yeah, I can run this. Oh, watch me. And you can almost see the dog saying, well, I thought this was going to be complicated. I thought you were going to ask me to jump through a hoop 6 foot in the air. No, all I've got to do is just run through these things or run around the back of that. Come back to you for a treat. What we do? Your dog's not a complicated soul. It lives for you. It lives and wants to please you. So yeah, hoopers is one of those wonderful things that people have created, but it actually does, it does what it says on the tin. It allows you to have fun. Hooper levels. So hooper levels helps you as the person, as the trainer or the instructor, to discern your strengths and weaknesses in training. One of the things that is often on a course is being able to send your dog through what is a square or a box, whatever it's described as, one way and then round and then back through another way. This is your hooper levels at work, people, because you've got tunnel, you've got go on or forward, depending on where you stand. But you stand in simple positions where you will be most effective to your dog, most helpful, and then you build yourself up to standing in another place whereby does your dog understand your verbal cues and your backup is your body language. So, hooper levels at work. I call these things decoys, some other people call them distractions, but your dog should know if you say a certain word, it means stay on the path it's on, and then if it's got its ears open and you said left or right, it would say, okay, I know that, I know what I've got to do. And then you pull them off. What's happening here is we need to work towards operating smoothly so that the dog can run smoothly. That's building up the dog's confidence. So again, if your dog's not doing something quite right, your hooper levels can help, because even the steps between, say, steps 1 and 2 or 1, 2 and 3, you might start off with the handler at one end of the run. So you're starting here and your dog's starting there. And then very gradually you swap places. So then you should be able to do a straight line. From there you can go. Then you're standing halfway along. So your dog is learning to run towards you and then run past you. And that is a confidence booster for both of you, because they've got to trust losing sight of you perhaps as they run past. So it's not as easy as you think. Some dogs take a little while to practice this, and some dogs will be better at the recall and weaker at the send away, and some dogs will be good at the send away and not so good at the recall. But eventually you should be able to stand almost parallel with your dog here, and your dog is focused on where it's going, so it's not turned its head to look at you and looking at the hoops out of the corner of his eye. It's looking at you at the corner of its eye and looking forward and taking the hoops in its most vision. And when you say go, bang, it's on. It's all about confidence and assessing how confident your dog is at a certain hooper level exercise element, and then using your nonce to either work out, okay, can I make this simpler? Maybe close up the gap of the hoops, maybe get a bit closer to the dog, whatever, stand in a different place. Stimulates mentally. And I think when dogs enjoy something, it does stimulate them. There's mental stimulation in teaching hoopers. I think there's also my feeling is that you keep the mental stimulus fun, active, and not stressful. It's low impact to my feeling, low impact physical, and low impact mentally. So you shouldn't be stressing your dog out with hoopers. When you've tried something out with them, they should be begging to go back and have a bit more. They shouldn't be sort of like going, I don't know about this. So mental stimulation, happy mental stimulation. That's exercise without any undue stress. Improving your fitness of the dog's flexibility. What can I say? Some people aren't too happy about, say, the dog learning to go all the way round about. They go, oh no, my dog couldn't do that. This Hooper's Lock was designed or created by people who wanted lower impact and to help a dog gain suppleness. And in actual fact, some of the exercises or points were planned so that they are almost on a similar level to a physiotherapy style. So it doesn't matter. We're not teaching the dog to wrap skin tight round. If your dog goes around a barrel at a certain gap, fine. But what just using the barrel will do, and letting your dog do it at its own pace, not as fast as it possibly can, will hopefully help dogs that may be having to build up their flexibility on equal sides. Now, so look at it as an exercise class. You saying to yourself, right, I'm going to go to yoga, I'm going to go to Zumba, I'm going to go to Pilates, and they will get you to stretch and move, in certain ways equally. They don't expect you to overstretch, but you find that after going for a few weeks, you find that perhaps, hey, I can bend down and pick that pin off the floor a lot better than I used to. And it's because the instructor has shown you how to bend down without strain or without, impact, and pick it up and on you go. And it's improved your flexibility. So you can also look at hoopers as a little bit of therapy. Certainly some of the moves involving barrels or gaits do require training on turning, and again it's up to you to just let your dog take the wheel initially, and let them turn as they wish. And I think as they grow in confidence, as they grow in fitness, then you may find a little difference to them. Stay calm in tone and action. Now, what does that mean? Now, to me, what I learned about hoopers, and it was reinforced by watching these videos, these training videos recently, is be consistent, use tone of voice rather than maybe what you actually are saying to teach your dog, or differentiate between the things you want your dog to learn. So this is where I would be saying, let's go, for my dog to start. If I want my dog to keep running, I'll go on. Different sound, isn't it? That can carry across. So that carries. And hopefully the dog will also, if you're standing 10 feet away or 15 feet away, it picks it up. I hold the note. You could say, I call it holding the note. So rather than acting with a machine gun thing, da 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 da, go on, go 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 go, I go on. Okay, and I might hold the note for a couple of seconds. That might be long enough for the dog. So depending on the distance it's covering. But it's certainly something I use, especially once my dog has turned, perhaps changed direction, and I'll say, go on, to indicate, yeah, you've done the right thing, that's the way forward. So go, sets the dog on, go on, tells my dog he wants to keep going. To learn distance handling. Hoopers was created in America and developed in Europe as an alternative, perhaps to agility, but as a novelty test to see just how well dogs can work with verbal commands and not necessarily their handlers keeping up with them. Different test altogether. There are similarities. I mean, obviously everybody with the collies, you got your sheepdog herders, you've got your sheepdog breeds, the Kelpies, etc., Australian Shepherd dogs, that, where they are used to run out, do an outrun, and then return something to their owners, usually animals, or moving cattle, sheep, etc. So you might think, oh, God, my Bichon Frise ain't going to be able to do a distance. No, doesn't matter. Distance could be anything outside the reach of your arm. And if you use hooper levels in a way that allows the dog to give it a go, with you standing by to guide it and encourage it, you may surprise yourself. You may surprise yourself. And just because, you watch somebody's border collie running around a football pitch, well, if your achievement might be that you can get your dog to work 5 metres away from you and while you stand in a box. And to be honest, that's really what you want from hoopers for a hoopers competition. Okay? None of the hoopers competitions are things where you're being expected to work your dog, 20 feet away, 10 metres away on your first shows. They should be there to encourage you and make you feel that you can actually achieve sending your dog out to something 5 metres away and then turning the corner and going on another 5 metres and then coming back to you and going away again. Hoopers is a game of sending your dog away from you and then really turning them round in a certain direction and coming back. Whoopie-doo. That's why it's so much fun. So, as a handler, you can aim for a standard, for your very own standard. You can look at reducing your cues, reducing your arm movements, so that if they're expansive and multi, you can see if your training is taking effect by just cutting back a few words. Let's say, for example, my parallel to that is when you go into the obedience side. They say, oh, you can speak to your dog and encourage it in the lower classes. And then in the higher grades, as you move up, same exercises, but you're only allowed to say one word and one arm signal. And the dog, for a retrieve. So you teach your dog, yeah, go fetch it, good dog, ooh, bring it back, sit, wait. And then when you see them at profs, they stand perfectly still. They might not even flick a finger and they go, hold. And the dog goes, pick it up, back. And to a certain degree, you can see whether you can achieve that sort of thing with your hoopers, using the hooper levels. So when we come to assess or do them as progress tests, we say, okay, can you do 3 hoops in a line, but on one word? Or just one arm signal? Or one arm signal, one word? What it does then is it helps you to work out when you are helping your dog and when perhaps you are a distraction to your dog. So those are things that you, as a handler, can get out of hooper levels. So how can hooper levels be used by yourself and the and instructors? Trainers, the individual trainers, you can separate it into elements so that you're practicing something that you're not so hot on, and not then ruining something that you are hot on in a different manner. It means that you could be doing level 1 hooper levels to improve your start, but when it comes to the barrels hooper levels, you might be way ahead. You can do hooper level. Oh yeah, I can do a figure of 8 with my dog standing back here, mate. Or I can stand. I can stand here and get my dog to do a figure of 8. And that's hooper level 7. So you don't necessarily have to be keeping every level, but it then does give you an idea of, okay, I'm brilliant at level 7 on that, but I need to perk up my left and right and follow the line on hoops. So I might need to do a little bit more practice on that. Instructors, HUK instructors, we've gone through the hooper levels as their instructor. It is the basis of their instructor qualifications because it teaches an awful lot. And it is up to them. We do like to see that people can use it as a progress test and a progress award scheme, because there's nothing nicer than getting a rosette from your instructor saying, congratulations, you've reached level 3. Well, that means you're virtually ready for shows now. Good on you. And moving on up. Okay, remembering that, well, it's quite tough once you get past level 6. My understanding of the philosophy behind these things is appreciate your dog, appreciate your dog's manner, and appreciate the way it learns. So getting an appreciation of what your dog can and can't do and how you get your message across. Think when you're working your dog, you're helping, not telling. Okay, so again, that's with the arm signals and all that sort of stuff. The hooper levels helps you to be a little calmer and more gentle. If you think about it this way, if let's say you went to the Queen's funeral to pay your respects in that massive queue, toddling along, and you had people saying to you in a barky voice, "Come along now, move along, keep up there, don't do this, keep along now, keep along, keep your head down, don't look at the, pay your respects." You'd think, "Oh God, this isn't very nice." But if somebody's coming on, "Excuse me, madam, could you, close the gap up in the queue, please?" And somebody spoke nicely to you, you go, "Yeah, okay, I'll do that." They say, "Would you mind removing your hat when you enter the church?" Etc. Do you see the difference? Yes, you may need to speak a little bit louder, but it's the tone, it's the message across that you're giving. Okay, you don't need to necessarily order your dog to, run this, because if it's easy for them and they're having fun at it, hey, it's a no-brainer. So relax and, let them enjoy it too. That means, look at your adoption of a nice, clear and unfussy manner to passing those messages across to your dog, when to turn, when not to turn, when to keep straight forward, when to go round a barrel, etc. So this is what hooper levels can do. And believe it or not, I have watched or seen, I've been on courses now, a couple of, and I've seen that in the videos. And the first time I went to the instructor course in Belgium, and the lady there was explaining things, I was just going tick, 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 because it was all, I picked it all out of the hooper levels. It's nice to be refreshed, it's nice to be do some revision, and that is what I should be doing. But yes, it is also very nice to literally hear people speaking and going, "Yeah, my hooper levels taught me that. Yeah, my hooper levels taught me that. Yeah, oh, my dog can do that because I was using hooper levels." I'd say that so a lot of instructors abroad and things, trainers, have adopted and adapted various aspects, and you can recognise hooper levels in their training as well. I'm now going to open the floor. Has anybody, I don't know where your comments are, people. Hello. Can everybody see what's going on? Has anybody got any questions? I don't know how many people are on the comment board. I can't. Now I don't seem to have a picture of myself on the screen. There I am. Well, I've got a small picture of me. I hope you've got a bigger picture of me. Although I've got a face for radio. Have any of you got any questions on the hoopers and the hooper levels. Where can I go with this? Hang on a minute. I'm just going to have a very quick alcoholic drink. Naughty me. Okay. What do I think of using treat and train? Guys, when Moochie was a puppy, I did clicker training with him. If you want to do the treat and train machines, they're very useful. Very much, you've got to find something that floats your dog's boat. All right. So I'm not I'm not going to go into motivational training, etc., etc. Whatever helps to float your dog's boat. And the only tip I would say is just make the exercises initially as simple as you can, so that there is success for your dog. Success every time. And that might mean that you use your treat and train. Might mean that, if you're a fantastic, you taught cricket or you played cricket for England or something, you're a fantastic overall. So you can lob your toy as your dog comes out the end of the line of hoops. You then need to think about moving it up, obviously, onto the fact that they have motivation to actually do it without that end thing there. But you have to work your way through. How long do training sets last? Susan says. Unsure what you actually mean. They take as long as you like. The Hooper Levels and the Hooper Level Training Facebook group is there for you for as long as you like. You take your own time to look at the exercises, work them out, because it's down to letting your dog decide what they're doing. Okay. You can look at the Hooper Levels, and you can go, oh yeah, I think my dog will very probably I'll give it a go at that level 5, 5 meters apart stuff, and let's see if my dog can do that. If they're struggling, and they're struggling even when you put out treat and train and things, go down a level, close the gaps up, make it simpler. And then when your dog is bombing through that and saying, watch me, Mum, oh, I can do level 4, boom, I can do level 4 running through hoops, oh, I can do level 4 send away through a tunnel, then you try doing, splitting it up a bit, putting level 5 in. Again, you can also look at the training exercises for the higher levels, level 6, 7, 8, 9 and 10, provided you've got all the equipment. And you might want to move it back a bit so that you can manage it. So if you're introducing your dog to doing it with distractions and decoy obstacles, okay, you can look at the map or the diagram for one of the higher levels and maybe set it up a little bit more that's suited with your gaps or whatever, and try and work it, and then expand on the gaps again. Oh, darling Verity, love you. How do you work towards being silent if they're screaming? Don't have to be silent. I just say, screaming might be perhaps the other thing. I think, just encouraging. So How do you work towards? So you change that seesaw from go and do it to yeah, you can do it. You can do it. Whoopie doo. Okay, and you often get a little bit more better effect from that. Now I was doing a Hooper class or a Hooper beginner class yesterday, and we were building up to going round four barrels. Okay, so we were building up to doing 4 barrels. That one, that one, that one, that one. Now we were indoors, so we were really only 2 or 3 metres apart, and the exercise is a Hooper levels exercise, being able to get your dog to go from one to the other, and it was teaching the handlers to point accurately from one hoop barrel to the next barrel to the next barrel to the next barrel. Now I would feel, and I did this as a puppy with little plastic, little plastic cones, and then and then I moved them up to the barrels. And all I did was just encourage the point that if I pointed and I was looking in the direction of that barrel, and they went over and sniffed it, or they went and found a treat that was hiding behind it, for example, that's where I would click and reward and whoopee. Okay, so you might need to work on just a little bit of bringing things together so that the dog, if the dog feels a little lacking in confidence from going away from you, bringing it in together and going back, so that the dog goes, oh yeah, I can watch this, and then waiting for the dog to actually show you when you go to do it again the next time. Watch me, Mum. Watch me go round that barrel before you even ask me. And to me, that tells me that your dog's on a roll and is getting the message. So 4 barrels is a Hooper level, and there are so many different ways that is used. It's also actually 2 different Hooper level exercises elements. One is directional training, and one is actually sending the dog all the way around the outside. They call it the lane, but we might say out. Any other points of view? I might close down now, save the video, put it on Hooperholics UK for people to look through. If people then have more questions, they are welcome to add to this. But I thank you very much for joining me. I hope that it encourages you, inspires you. I think that's the word I want. I want it to inspire you to go out and enjoy your hoopers, guys. All right, and know that you've got a system which may sound a little bit formal, but you can make it as relaxed as you like for your own dog. Okay, so bye for now. But as I say, if you've got any other questions when you've watched this through, put it on the comments and I'll come back to you in the next few days. Thank you.